Aloha y'all, Daniel Aaron here, your guide to vibrant living. And you tune in, subscribe, share, like, because you are dedicated to the art of vibrant living, right? And what we do is we help spiritual people finally get their physical earthly lives to match up to their values, vision, and potential. And this story that I'm sharing with you, it's just one of my favorite ever, in part because it's so apt, it's so tuned in, it's so helpful, and it's also true. I used to tell this story often back in the days when I was in Bali teaching yoga classes. And yoga classes, when we're moving our bodies around and all that stuff, what they're really aimed at is using the body to get to bigger truths, to get to a deeper experience, to remember who we are. Who we are is also how we show up, what we do, what our purpose is, and how we unfold our purpose in life. So this story, illustrative of that point, comes to us from, well, the land that we call Thailand. Now, in the 13th, 14th century, there was the creation of what we now call the Golden Buddha. And it is, literally, still is, a statue 10.5 feet tall, 3.5 metric tons of almost pure gold, valued today, I believe, at about $750 million. Right? Incredible, incredible statue. Now, what happened was, this existed for a long time there, an incredible statue. Then, in 1757, the Burmese army was invading this area, and one of the things they were doing was looting and destroying, and especially monasteries and temples. So the monks had a bright idea, a good idea, which was, well, let's disguise this thing, let's cover it up, literally, plant that seed, shall we? Cover it up by putting clay over it, like 3 to 4 inches thick of clay. And it worked. In fact, it worked so well that it stayed covered up. Nobody found out what it was. Because what happened, as far as we can tell, we don't know, is the Burmese army came through and killed everybody that was at that monastery. Because afterwards, nobody knew what was really underneath that clay. Here's what happened though. 1957, the king of Thailand ordered that monastery to move, including moving that Buddha, which was really heavy. So it was taking them quite a while. They were doing some rearranging of the city of Bangkok and the highways and such, so they had to move it. And in the process of getting it ready for move, they were using levers and trying to get it propped up, and it was taking some time, and they didn't know why it was so heavy. That was a bit weird. So it was pouring down rain one night, and they covered it up with tarps, and one of the monks went out in the nighttime just to check and see that it was okay, because even though it was clay, it was valuable to them, this big Buddha. And so he took a flashlight and he shined it, and as he did, there was a glint, like a spark came back to him, a sparkle, a twinkle. And so he said to himself, what's going on? Why clay does not shine? So he went back and got something like a chisel and came back out there, and sure enough, figured it out. Right? They figured out that underneath the 3 or 4 inches of clay was this golden Buddha. Right? So, part of why that story is so appropriate is, one, it's just like who? Just like you and me, right? We are these divine sparks. We are golden. We are pure. 100% pure love, infinite potential. And most of us come to Earth, our physical experiences, and forget that we are perfect, right? We get into fear and worry and insecurity and shyness, and right, we forget to allow ourselves to shine and experience the full beauty of life. And as well, each of us has, as we mentioned earlier, a divine destiny, right? Call it dharma, ikigai in Japanese, which means like the thing that we are uniquely suited to do, which the world needs, which we love, which also pays us well, right? We have a destiny, what Rumi called the one thing you must do. And if we are living into that, then we are thriving, we're growing, we're on task, we're at peace. And if we're not, well, there's no real complicated way to say it other than we're suffering, right? Something doesn't feel right. We're not aligned. We're not thriving. Or another way of saying it is to really thrive, to live an extraordinary life, we have to be aligned with that destiny. We have to continually peel back the layers, take the clay off, shine that internal golden Buddha, and allow our light to shine out. So for most of us, that process doesn't happen immediately. And a few people, they know their destiny from the earliest moments. For most of us, though, we might get inklings, or we might be in a phase of life where we're saying, what is it? Or we might, and this is in some ways the worst of all, we might know what it is, but be not living it, living something else. So wherever you are on that continuum, if you're thriving into it and living it now, you might be asking yourself, how can I do it more? And if you're not yet aware of it, you're saying, I need to find out. I need to discover what my real purpose is. And if you're aware of it yet not living it, then you really got to get moving with it. And not only is it important for you and your well-being, it's important for the world, because as the saying from the 60s goes, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We're in this together. So I hope the story reminds you of the truth of who you are. I hope it's useful. I hope it's fun. And if you are interested in applying that wisdom in your own life, you might be interested in what I genuinely believe to be the most powerful program for unveiling and living that divine potential. It's a 7-week program I created called Living the Vibration of Vibrancy, because it's not enough to just know about it, to imagine it, to visualize it. We are here to live it, to actually implement it, to have it be part of our lives, to be thriving on all the important aspects of our life. So if you are interested in that, I'll leave a little info down below. I am currently enrolling, for the first time in a while, 5 new clients into the program. So if you are interested in applying, seeing if it's a fit, let's have a conversation, and so I can learn about you and see if it's something that would really serve you and if you would be a good fit for the program. And with that, I bid you great thanks, blessings, and aloha.